Latin in the English Language by Emma Reich. Back around the 15th century, Latin was considered to be a sophisticated language only used by the respected and educated class. So how did Latin come into the English language if it was only used by a small sect of people back then? The English Renaissance came along during the late 15th century, giving social barriers a run for their money. Social barriers and classes fell, leaving Latin more exposed to other people, not just the educated. The English Renaissance also brought along many things, including art and science. Both art and science were heavily loaded with words directly taken from the Latin language. Almost 12,000 to 14,000 Latin words came into the English language through science and art during the Renaissance. The reason so many words were taken from Latin was because there were already Latin words that existed, but did not have English equivalents. And since everyone turned to the educated scholars for information, the scholars who already knew Latin gave answers which were heavily doused with Latin words, for Latin words were the proper and scientific names. For example, the Latin word gravity comes from the Latin root gravis, meaning heavy or serious. The Catholic Church also gave rise to many new Latin words that were adopted into the English language. When the Romans inhabited England, they made Catholicism the official religion of England. Since Latin was Catholicism's official language, many religious officials had to speak, read, and write in Latin to understand their religion. This resulted in many people learning Latin for the sake of their religion. Many religious words from Latin were adopted because they had no way of saying it in English, and because they were so heavily surrounded in Latin words. For example, the word religion comes from Latin. The Latin root, religionem, literally translates into respect for what is sacred and reverence for the gods. Latin came into the English language very heavily during the Renaissance and from the Catholic Church. It is safe to say our vocabulary would not be quite as big as it is without Latin.